What's going on, guys? Welcome to Rabbit's Used Cars. You know, I've been wanting to do this video since we got this car. I get like schoolgirl giddy over C4 Corvettes. I mean, you got to think about it. This was the car to have when I was growing up as a kid. I actually drove a 90 Corvette convertible. It wasn't an Indy car, but I drove a white 90 Corvette convertible when I was 16 years old. And I was the coolest kid. Well, I thought I was the coolest kid at Wade Hampton High School. So I've always had a soft spot, and you guys have heard my stories on VinWiki, talking about old C4 Corvettes, you know, the classy chassis when I was riding around with, well, I ain't gonna say her name, but you know what. You know, the one with no VIN, and I've had so many C4 Vets over the years. I'm talking about from your run-of-the-mill trailer park C4 Corvettes to your most hoity-toity, classy trailer park C4 Corvettes. And, you know, I joke about these cars, and these cars have always kind of been like the ass of every Corvette joke and the entry-level Corvette. But now the values are actually coming up on them. And people are really starting to like buy these to collect and to take to shows. You know, you got all these 80s and 90s festivals like Radwood and etc. that love these cars. And you know, so many people bought these cars and they took care of them and they drove them. Then a lot of them got ragged out. And you know, there were always that cheap car. There was that cheap sports car, you know, a teenager ended up with it. They all got ragged out. So the really nice ones are starting to bring some big money. And I want to tell you something. I've probably owned, between owning and selling, I've probably sold more than 100 of these damn cars in my life. Hands down, this is the nicest one I've ever owned. I was playing around on Marketplace, just scrolling. I was bouncing around, and I got a friend that lives down in Charleston, South Carolina, and you know, so I was planning on going down and seeing them. I said, hey, we'll see what's down there to buy. I might buy a car while we're down there visiting. And lo and behold, came across this little jewel right here. And I know what you're thinking. God, Rob, that thing's, you know, teal green with hot pink graphics on it. And this thing was any more 90s, it'd be a damn disposable camera. But that's what makes this car cool, is because they left it this way. Quick breakdown. This is actually, if you want to get technical, and I know people are going to roll their eyes worldwide when I say this, but this is the rarest C4 Corvette on the planet. Production C4, we all know they made a couple 83s that never got sold to the public. But production cars, Grand Sports, ZR1s, collector's editions, anniversary models, this one. That's right, the old Trapper Keeper right here. This is the rarest C4 Corvette on the planet. Callaways, anything. There's 50 of these cars were made, and they were all at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as parade cars. And I know what you're saying. Parade cars? Well, don't you mean pace car? No. In 1990, Chevrolet worked out a deal to build 52 convertible Berettas. Obviously, they didn't make a production convertible. You can't have a pace car if it's not a convertible. What do? You send them off and they make them into convertibles. So they got this company and they designed a kit to convert hardtop Berettas into convertibles, and they were this color. It's called metallic turquoise. I know they went all out on the name, but this was the problem. 3 weeks before the race, they only had 3 done. That put General Motors scrambling. You know, we got to have the car for the parade cars. So they had enough to make pace cars for the actual race, but the parade cars that all the drivers rode around the track in, we don't have no convertibles for them to ride around and wave and all that stuff around the historic Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So what do? They pulled America's sports car off the rack. This was actually, the reason they used this color is because it was the same color used on the Berettas. This is also the worst selling and least ordered color on a Corvette. Only 500 were made, coupes and convertibles, in 1990. Only 50 of these cars, like I said, were put on the track. And this is what drivers rode on. If you'll look, it's got a padded back on the tonneau cover, and that's right where they sat. And if you look a little deeper, you even notice a custom carpet panel, and that's all these cars got to actually block that off back there where the top went and all that stuff for close-ups with the camera and whatnot. And these cars actually went around the track. The cool thing about this car is who it came from. You know, every Corvette has a story, things it sees. This car belonged to a GM exec that had this car since day one. Every mile that's been put on this car, he did it himself. And he was telling us the story when he was at the track and these cars got delivered and sitting out on the track, being lettered on the track. He said 52 sets of these decals were made. They had 2 extra sets just in case something happened. Lettered the cars on the track because it was a totally last minute deal. This car actually came from Connecticut. They were pulling them off dealer lots to fill this order to have parade cars. The first question I asked this dude, since you're a GM exec, I said, why in the hell didn't you just make a Corvette the pace car? He said, son, we had no trouble selling Corvettes. We were trying to push Berettas. That's why they made a Beretta pace car. But since they couldn't get the Beretta convertibles done in time, these were the actual parade cars, or festival cars, you want to call it, that went around the track. And like I said, only 50 of these were done. Now this is the next catch. A lot of these cars went to some of the bigger dealers. The GM execs had first swing at buying them. And he saw the car, he liked it, he bought it. It's just a fun play toy, it's a little second car. Super low miles. He drove it, it was pretty outside. He always stayed in the garage. It was always like his second car. Well, most people, when they got them, the first thing they did was take these tacky pink graphics off of it. And nobody, it's cool and all, but it's over with. And they peeled them off. Even the one that's in the Corvette Museum right now doesn't have the decals on it. But he left his on. And that's what makes this so cool. This is an unmolested, other than a set of stainless exhaust, bone stock, all original, one of 50 C4 Corvette convertible. It still has this original top that's pristine. It has all its Indy paperwork. Its original window sticker. All its documentation for being at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Press cards, everything he got from being at the race. Lapel pins, everything came with this car. And that's what makes it so cool. And this car wasn't just driven, it was loved. Well, of course, obviously he worked in Detroit, GM headquarters. I have oil change vouchers and receipts where this car had its services done at research and development at General Motors. Do you know the things this car's seen? He didn't go to the Jiffy Lube and get his oil changed. Hell, he might have got his oil changed next to some prototype car. This was so cool. The story that went with it, I loved it. And that's what makes it special. Just the great story that comes with it. And the car is immaculate. We get there, we look at the car. This dude's got CTSVs, Corvettes, and Impala SS's, and every car's pristine. This dude's got a lift in his garage. You look at this car at the bottom looks like the top. It's absolutely immaculate. And then when they retire, what do? What all old people do with Corvettes? You go to car shows with them. This thing's been at Corvettes Carlisle. It's been to the Corvette Museum. This car's seen stuff. It's, like an actual presentation car. Like people are showing this thing off. Now with the C4 vet values going up, and you'll even notice that the C4 vets, the nice cars, are bringing more than the C5 vets. The C5s are becoming the new C4, and these are becoming your new collector cars. That's the thing that's really cool about them. When you find an unmolested, super clean, low mile with all this documentation and just a cool ass story behind it, that's what makes this car special. And I love the color combination. I love the decals on it. This thing literally, we went back down to Charleston. I was just gonna grab the trailer. Hell, we'll throw it up on a trailer. And the guy that I was buying the car from, he told me, he said, it'd be a damn sin to tow this car. He said, the weather's gonna be 80 degrees outside, son. You got a Corvette with cold air and the top goes back. He said, drive it. And so that's what we did. We cruised down the pickup. We saw this thing, we jumped in it, got it bought. We busted ass back to Greenville with it, hitting the highway with it. This thing cruises out, drives like a brand new one for 1990, obviously. It's a lot of fun, and these cars I really see being the super collector's cars. When you start getting like your collector's editions and your anniversary cars and your Grand Sports and your ZR1s, these are the cars that the collectors are going to want first. They made a lot of Corvettes, but when you've got something that they only made a few of out of something they made hundreds of thousands of. Keep in mind, they made the C4 Corvette from 1984 to 1996. That's kind of a big deal. That's kind of neat. And it's not stupid stuff. You know, it's not, well, this valve, you know, these valve stem caps are special, or this one's got special wheels. This car was at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Hell, most people never go to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Hell, I've never been inside it. I drove past it because the classic chassis was on the way. But you know what I'm saying. And that's the thing that's cool about this car, is this car was on the bricks. You know, I don't know the driver that rode in the back of it. You know, I don't even know the guy that won the race. I looked it up, but I couldn't pronounce his name, so I said, F it. But, you know, he drove the Domino's car. I do remember that. I remember the Pizza Man. Anyway, I mean, just a cool little vet. I don't know. I'm just kind of fangirling over my vet, so you guys just got to live with it. Till then, we'll catch you next time at Rabbit's Used Cars.
Dyke.
Yeah, that guy. None.
Why? Is that just you, or is that all YouTube guys?
You know, so I grew up in a trailer park. My dad used to tell me that when the ice cream truck played music, they were sold out. He was so cheap. Although he drove a new Corvette, that's probably why, because he never bought my fat ass ice cream. Okay, I messed up.
I was following your lead, though.
I'm trying. Well, and I walked us into the wall, so it's okay. I think that was a good one. I could have got all ticky.